Have you ever felt like you're carrying an invisible weight that doesn't even belong to you? Like your life is filled with relationships, habits, or thoughts that take up space but don't really add any value? Maybe you're already aware of this, but the idea of letting go of these anchors feels overwhelming. Here's a little-known truth. Most of these changes don't need to be drastic or dramatic. In fact, the greatest transformations often start quietly, subtly, and in profoundly freeing ways. Now, imagine waking up every day with a lighter mind, a calmer heart, and a renewed clarity about what truly matters. Stoicism, an ancient and practical philosophy, teaches us just that. By letting go of what no longer serves us, whether it's unrealistic expectations, the constant need to be right, or the digital noise that consumes our attention, we create space for genuine inner peace and personal growth. But here's a challenge. What if some of the things you believe are essential are actually the biggest barriers to your happiness and fulfillment? And what if the simple act of letting go of these things is the key to living a fuller, more productive life, one that's aligned with your deepest values? In this guide, we're going to explore 10 things you can begin letting go of, quietly, to transform your life from the inside out. Each step is an opportunity for growth, a practical lesson to reconnect with what truly matters. By the end, you'll discover that true power doesn't come from accumulating, but from letting go. Overcoming the fear of others' opinions, People live trapped in an invisible cage, the fear of being judged by others. It's as if every step, every word, every decision has to pass through an imaginary courtroom where everyone around them is an unforgiving juror. But here's a hard truth that few dare to face. People think about you far less than you imagine. They're so busy dealing with their own insecurities that your mistakes often go unnoticed. Does that thought free you or bother you? It all depends on your perspective. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said that we shouldn't worry about things outside our control. And guess what? Other people's opinions have never been under your control. Imagine how much you could grow if you stopped carrying the weight of others' approval and started aligning yourself with your own values. This is where true freedom lies, living by principles, not applause. To start overcoming this fear, begin with small steps. For instance, why not share an idea you've been holding back for fear of what others might think? This could be in a work meeting or even among friends. At first, it may feel uncomfortable, but the personal growth that follows is unmatched. It's like exercising a muscle that over time gets stronger and more resilient. The fear of judgment is also fueled by the need for acceptance. But think about it. Would you rather be accepted by those who don't know your true self, or respected by those who admire your authenticity? When you focus on what really matters, your values, your principles, your personal philosophy, everything else becomes background noise. Here's a practical exercise. Pick something small but meaningful that pushes you out of your comfort zone. Maybe wear that outfit you love but think is too different, or say no to a request that doesn't align with your priorities. Over time, these small acts of courage will accumulate, building a solid foundation of self-confidence. Remember, self-awareness is key in this process. Acknowledging that you fear judgment is already an act of bravery. Once you bring this fear to light, you can ask yourself, does this fear serve me or is it holding me back? This simple reflection is often the first step towards self-transformation and a better life. Stoicism also teaches us to focus on what's essential, and honestly, other people's opinions almost never make that list. Take a moment to look at your daily life and ask, what am I doing that truly matters for my personal growth? What positive habits can I cultivate to distance myself from the need for external validation? Ultimately, overcoming the fear of judgment isn't about what you lose. It's about what you gain. You gain mental clarity, personal productivity, And most importantly, a sense of fulfillment that doesn't depend on others. When you live according to your values, others' opinions become nothing more than a distant echo. Before diving into the next step of this journey, one that involves reassessing the relationships in your life, ask yourself, which connections are truly nourishing me and which ones are just draining my energy? 2. Cutting out toxic relationships. Some human connections are like fruit trees. They provide shade, nourishment, and shelter. Others, unfortunately, resemble invasive vines that drain your energy and stifle your growth. Toxic relationships work. In this way, they wear you down, devalue you, and leave a void where mutual support should exist. Identifying these relationships is the first step toward reclaiming your inner peace. Toxicity doesn't always show up as direct confrontation. Sometimes it takes the form of constant negativity, subtle criticisms, or a lack of reciprocity. Think about that friend who only reaches out to vent but never celebrates your victories, or that family member who insists on criticizing your choices even when you're clearly on the right track. Exhausting, isn't it? Distancing yourself doesn't have to mean cutting ties abruptly or creating unnecessary conflict. Often it's about setting clear boundaries. For example, if someone frequently overwhelms conversations with negativity, you can gently steer the topic elsewhere or limit the time you spend with them. This allows you to protect your energy without escalating tensions. A practical way to identify toxic relationships is to reflect on how you feel after interacting with someone. Do you leave the conversation energized, inspired, and at peace? Or do you feel drained, discouraged, and sometimes even doubting yourself? These emotions are powerful indicators of the relationship's quality. Create a list of the people you regularly interact with and evaluate how each connection makes you feel. It's worth noting that stepping away from toxic relationships also means appreciating and nurturing the healthy ones. Sometimes we get so caught up in managing negative connections that we neglect the ones that truly matter. Make time to invest in genuine bonds. Send a kind message, schedule a coffee date, or simply listen attentively to someone who has always supported you. Stoic philosophy teaches us to seek balance and serenity in every area of life, including relationships. If someone constantly disrupts your pursuit of mental clarity or personal growth, it may be time to reassess that connection. After all, every minute you spend on toxic relationships is a minute you could be investing in your personal development. Remember, you don't always need a dramatic farewell speech. More often than not, distance happens naturally. Prioritize your values and the time you dedicate to yourself. Those who truly value you will understand your choices. Those who don't likely contributed to the problem. Cutting out toxic relationships isn't an act of selfishness, it's an act of self-care. When you choose to protect your energy, you create space for what truly matters. Whether that's a new positive habit, a transformative idea, or even a new friendship that supports your continuous growth. Now that we've identified the devastating effects of toxic connections, it's time to turn inward. What habits of your own might be holding you back? In the next step, we'll explore how to replace destructive patterns with practices that truly nourish your journey. 3. Breaking free from destructive habits. Habits have an incredible power. They shape your life, often without you even realizing it. Small, repeated actions can lead to extraordinary growth or trap you in cycles of stagnation. So here's the question. What patterns are you repeating that are sabotaging your goals? Procrastination, indulging in distractions, or excessive self-criticism. These habits slowly chip away at your potential to be better. One of the biggest mistakes when trying to break a bad habit is aiming for radical change right away. Imagine someone deciding to never procrastinate again and committing to work 8 straight hours without breaks. It sounds noble, but it usually ends in frustration. The secret lies in small victories. Replacing just one instance of procrastination with 15 minutes of focused action is a significant step. Don't underestimate the power of small, consistent efforts. Another key to breaking bad patterns is self-awareness. Often, harmful habits are rooted in unresolved emotions or beliefs. For instance, procrastination might stem from a fear of failure. Understanding the source of a behavior is crucial to transforming it. A helpful practice is journaling to identify the triggers behind your undesired actions. When you understand the why, the how becomes much clearer. Here's a practical example. Let's say you spend hours scrolling through social media, even though you know it drains your productivity. Instead of just deleting the apps, which might leave an immediate void, replace that time with something productive and enjoyable. Read a chapter of a book like Atomic Habits by James Clear, or take a walk outside. This way, the new habit naturally integrates into your daily routine. Stoicism teaches us that self-discipline is essential for a fulfilling life. When you focus on what's within your control, your daily choices, your actions begin to reflect your personal values. Think of discipline like a muscle. The more you work on it, the stronger it becomes. And like any workout, it all starts with the first move. It's also vital to practice self-compassion. Many people punish themselves harshly for failing to change a habit, which only perpetuates the destructive cycle. Instead, treat every misstep as a learning opportunity. Did you slip up today? What can you learn to make tomorrow different? This approach turns even mistakes into stepping stones for continuous improvement. Breaking bad habits isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Celebrate the small wins. The morning you got out of bed earlier, the afternoon you prioritized your tasks, or the evening you turned off your phone to meditate. These moments create a new narrative, one of someone committed to self-transformation. Finally, ask yourself, what new habit would you like to cultivate in place of the one you're letting go of? Replacing is always more effective than simply eliminating. Consider something that aligns with your pursuit of mental clarity and personal fulfillment. Starting your day with a moment of reflection or inspiring reading can help you stay connected to your growth mindset. Now that we've explored the transformative power of habits, it's time to challenge a deeply ingrained belief, the desire to control everything. Let's dive into that next. 4. Letting go of the need to control everything. There's something profoundly liberating about accepting that you can't control everything. Yet many people live as if carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders is an obligation. This insatiable desire for control is really an open invitation to stress, frustration, and mental exhaustion. Here's the first truth you need to hear. Trying to control the uncontrollable is like chasing the wind, futile and draining. Stoics offer us a simple yet powerful teaching. Focus on what's within your control and let the rest unfold naturally. But what does that look like in practice? Think about your daily life. Can you control what others think of you? Can you stop the rain from ruining your outdoor plans? Probably not. What you can control is how you respond to these situations, with serenity or frustration. And in that choice lies your true power. A practical way to internalize this idea is to start each day by listing what is within your control. This could be the effort you put into your work, the time you dedicate to positive habits, or how you choose to handle setbacks. By separating what you can influence from what you can't, you'll reduce anxiety and redirect your energy toward what truly matters. Here's an example. Imagine you're organizing an event and everything seems to go wrong. The vendor is late, the weather isn't cooperating, and people aren't showing up on time. Instead of panicking, ask yourself, what can I do right now to improve the situation? Maybe you can call a backup vendor or adjust your plans. As for the rest, accept it. This acceptance isn't passivity, it's a way to preserve your mental clarity. Mindfulness is also a powerful ally in this process. Being present in the moment reduces worries about the future or regrets about the past. Two fertile grounds for the need to control. Set aside a few minutes each day to take deep breaths and observe your thoughts. This practice helps you detach from the urge to micromanage every detail of your life. Letting go of control doesn't mean shirking responsibility. In fact, it's the opposite. By focusing on what truly depends on you, you strengthen your self-discipline and personal productivity. You stop wasting energy on battles you can't win and invest in actions that yield real results. The Stoics also teach us to detach from outcomes. This doesn't mean you should stop caring about your goals. It means understanding that things won't always go as planned, and that's okay. A classic example is a farmer. They plant, water, and care for their crops, but they can't control the weather. They do what's within their power and trust the process. Now, ask yourself, how much time have you wasted trying to control the uncontrollable? What if you redirected that energy into growing, improving, and living more freely? This shift in focus won't happen overnight, but every small step toward acceptance is a victory. As you begin to release this need for control, you'll feel an immediate sense of relief and gain a fresh perspective on life. With less tension, you'll find it easier to see what truly matters, like adjusting your expectations to something more realistic. 5. Releasing unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations are like mirages. They seem beautiful from a distance, but when you get closer, they vanish, leaving you frustrated. The pursuit of perfection, whether in work, relationships, or yourself, is a burden no one needs to carry. The problem isn't dreaming big, but believing that life must go exactly as planned, without flaws, without detours, without surprises. And when it doesn't, disappointment is inevitable. Often, these excessive expectations stem from comparing yourself to unrealistic standards, like those we see on social media. People showcase their brightest moments while you're acutely aware of your own imperfections. This creates a dangerous illusion. It's time to remember that real life is full of flaws, mistakes, and restarts, and that's what makes it rich and meaningful. To start letting go of these expectations, try a simple yet powerful exercise. Write down all your current expectations on paper. Then ask yourself, are these goals realistic? Am I demanding too much of myself or others? Rewrite these expectations in a way that's more practical and attainable. For example, if you expect to be 100% productive all the time, adjust it to something more human, like, I want to work well for most of the day, but also allow time for rest and leisure. Empathy is essential here, not just for others, but for yourself. Remember, you're human and perfection is an unattainable ideal. Imagine a friend facing the same struggles as you. What would you say to them? You'd likely offer understanding and support. So why not do the same for yourself? Flexibility in your thinking is another indispensable tool. When something doesn't go as planned, instead of resisting or getting frustrated, look for ways to adapt. The Stoic philosopher Seneca reminds us that just as the winds can change a ship's course, adversities can guide us to new and better destinations, but only if we're willing to adjust our sails. Let's bring this to a practical level. Suppose you've planned a flawless meeting, but things start to unravel. Technology glitches, a key participant is late, and time feels like it's slipping away. Instead of clinging to the expectation of perfection, shift your focus to what can still be done. How can you salvage the moment and learn from it? This approach not only reduces stress, but also strengthens your ability to handle future challenges. Gratitude is another key component. When you focus on what you have, instead of lamenting what you didn't achieve, your perspective shifts dramatically. Try writing down 3 things you're grateful for every day, even in difficult situations. This small habit fosters a growth mindset and helps align your expectations with reality. Breaking free from unrealistic expectations doesn't mean abandoning your dreams. It means adjusting them to something possible and sustainable. This shift creates space for steadier, less painful progress. When you accept that perfection isn't necessary, you open the door to authenticity and a genuine sense of personal fulfillment. As you let go of the weight of unrealistic expectations, a new opportunity arises to question the need to always be right. In the next step, we'll reflect on how this relentless pursuit can stand in the way of inner peace. Letting go of the need to always be right. The need to always be right is a subtle trap of the ego. At first glance, it may seem like a sign of strength, but in reality, it's a weight that can strain your relationships and keep you from true wisdom. Ultimately, what holds more value? Winning an argument or preserving mutual respect and peace? The answer isn't always obvious, but it's a crucial one for those seeking personal growth. Often, the desire to be right stems from internal insecurity. It's as if admitting you're wrong threatens your identity or self-worth. But in truth, acknowledging mistakes is a sign of strength, not weakness. Think about a leader you admire. Is it someone who insists on being right all the time, or someone who listens, reevaluates, and adapts? A practical way to let go of this habit is to pause before responding in a debate or conversation. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, am I trying to understand or just prove my point? This pause allows you to act with greater clarity and choose empathy over conflict. Imagine a common situation. You're debating with a colleague about the best approach for a project. Both of you have strong opinions. Instead of insisting your method is superior, ask, why do you believe this is the best approach? Showing genuine curiosity not only diffuses tension, but also creates room for a richer exchange of ideas. The Stoic philosophy teaches us to seek truth, not victory. And truth often emerges from a blend of perspectives. In a world where everyone is focused on winning debates, those who choose to listen stand out. Remember, listening doesn't mean agreeing. It means valuing someone enough to consider their point of view. Another helpful practice is active listening. During a conversation, try mentally repeating what the other person is saying instead of preparing your response while they speak. This simple technique can transform how you interact, making your conversations more meaningful and less combative. Letting go of the need to be right doesn't mean silencing yourself or accepting everything passively. It means prioritizing learning and connection. By shifting your mindset, you'll see that it's possible to maintain your integrity without forcing your ideas onto others. This shift also brings inner peace. When you stop fighting to prove something at every turn, your energy is redirected toward more important matters: your values, your purpose, your goals. This is one of the simplest ways to cultivate personal productivity and fulfillment. Finally, reflect, how many valuable moments have you sacrificed just to win an argument? Now imagine replacing that behavior with constructive conversations that strengthen your relationships. This change doesn't just transform your interactions with others, it also contributes to your personal growth. As you develop this skill, a new challenge emerges. How do you deal with distractions that drain your energy and steal your focus? In the next topic, we'll explore how to silence digital noise and reclaim your attention. So, silencing the digital noise. We live in an era of constant notifications where every ping or vibration demands immediate attention. It's as if technology has become the conductor of our lives, setting the tempo of our days. But are we truly living or just reacting? Silencing digital noise isn't just a practical choice. It's an act of self-care and transformation. The problem with excessive digital stimuli is that they drain our mental clarity. Every interruption, whether a message, an email, or a social media alert, fragments our focus, making it a battle to return to the original task. Research shows that the brain can take up to 25 minutes to fully refocus after a distraction. Imagine how much time and personal productivity is lost daily. A good starting point to reduce this impact is establishing tech-free moments. These could be during meals, right after waking up, or before going to bed. These small breaks give your mind a chance to breathe, like a necessary pause in an intense symphony. Try keeping your phone in another room during these moments. Sometimes physical distance is the best ally. Another powerful step is organizing your digital environment. Ask yourself, how many apps and notifications do you really need? Disable non-essential alerts and try the zero notifications approach, where you actively choose when to check messages rather than being constantly interrupted. This small change can bring a surprising sense of control and calm. If social media usage is a challenge for you, consider tools that monitor screen time and help set limits. Alternatively, replace some of that time with activities that genuinely contribute to your growth, like reading an inspiring book or meditating. A classic like The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle can help you reconnect with the present moment. Even in much quieter times, the Stoics emphasized the importance of focusing on what is essential and ignoring the superfluous. This principle is more relevant than ever in the digital age. When you consciously choose what to consume, whether information, entertainment, or interactions, you invest in your personal growth and mindset. Silencing digital noise also means redefining your relationship with technology. Instead of letting it control you, use it as a tool to achieve your goals. For example, productivity apps, task organizers, or time trackers can help you stay focused on what truly matters. Take a moment to reflect. What are you missing while immersed in the digital world? Conversations with those around you? The silence that fuels your creativity? Time that could be dedicated to positive habits? Reclaiming that time is reclaiming yourself. By turning down the volume of digital distractions, you not only gain inner peace, but also create space to identify and transform negative thoughts. In the next step, we'll explore how to reframe your mindset to see the constructive side of life. 8. Transforming negative thoughts. The human mind is like a garden. When cared for, it flourishes, but when neglected, weeds, in this case negative thoughts, take over. The issue isn't having negative thoughts, they're inevitable. What truly matters is how you deal with them. Letting these thoughts dominate is like watering weeds while the flowers wither. One of the first lessons in transforming negative thoughts is recognizing that they don't define who you are. They're simply a part of the human experience, like clouds passing in the sky. And just like clouds, they don't need to linger. A simple yet effective practice is observing these thoughts without judgment. Ask yourself, why am I thinking this right now? Is this thought useful or helping me grow? Gratitude is a powerful tool for counteracting negativity. When you train your mind to focus on what's good, negative thoughts lose their grip. A practical exercise is to write down 3 things you're grateful for each day. They can be as simple as the morning sunlight, a conversation with a friend, or overcoming a challenge. Another strategy is reframing your thoughts. For example, imagine you're dealing with criticism, whether at work or in your personal life. Instead of absorbing it as something definitive, ask, what can I learn from this? This simple act of reframing turns something potentially destructive into an opportunity for personal growth. Consider the impact of your environment on your thoughts as well. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, whether from people, news, or digital content, your thoughts are likely to reflect that. Why not limit your exposure to these influences and seek inspiration in books, talks, or conversations that promote a growth mindset. Books like Mindset, The New Psychology of Success by Carol Dweck can be transformative in this regard. Remember that Stoic philosophy teaches us to seek serenity in the face of adversity. This doesn't mean ignoring problems, but approaching them with a broader perspective. Ask yourself, will this matter 5 years from now? Often, the answer shifts the issue into a much lighter context. Identifying triggers that feed negative thoughts is also crucial. It might be certain situations, people, or even specific times of the day when you feel most vulnerable. Recognizing these triggers is the first step in breaking free from destructive cycles. Try replacing them with practices that nourish your mind, like exercise, reading, or mindfulness. Finally, surround yourself with people who bring positive energy. Friends and mentors who share similar values and encourage mutual growth can act as anchors during moments of doubt. Remember, negative thoughts thrive in isolation, but lose their power when shared with someone who offers support. Now that we've discussed how to transform negative thoughts, it's time to address an aspect that often reflects our inner state, the clutter around us. In the next topic, we'll explore how eliminating excess, both physical and mental, can create space for greater clarity and balance. Clearing physical and mental clutter chaos doesn't just exist in what we see, it also lives in what we feel. A cluttered environment creates a constant sense of overwhelm, and mental disarray is often a reflection of this. When your home or workspace is full of unnecessary items, your mind tends to feel equally agitated and disorganized. The philosophy of minimalism teaches that physical clarity leads to mental clarity, a principle essential for personal growth. Picture walking into a room filled with scattered papers, clothes, and random objects out of place. How do you feel? Overwhelmed, right? Now imagine the opposite. A clean, organized space with only the essentials. That immediate sense of peace and focus is something you can cultivate in your mind. By decluttering your surroundings, you start to free your mind from distractions and create space to focus on what truly matters. A great way to begin is by embracing detachment. Look around your home or workspace and ask yourself, does this item still add value to my life? If the answer is no, it may be time to let it go. Remember, space is valuable, and every item you accumulate occupies not only physical space, but also mental energy. Letting go of what no longer serves you creates a profound sense of lightness. The same rule applies to your mindset. What thoughts or beliefs are taking up space in your mind without adding value? Perhaps it's constant self-criticism or a persistent fear of failure. Just as you would clear physical clutter, it's time to rid your mind of this mental junk. Identifying these limiting beliefs is the first step to replacing them with thoughts that support your personal transformation. 8. Transforming negative thoughts. The human mind is like a garden. When cared for, it flourishes, but when neglected, weeds, in this case negative thoughts, take over. The issue isn't having negative thoughts, they're inevitable. What truly matters is how you deal with them. Letting these thoughts dominate is like watering weeds while the flowers wither. One of the first lessons in transforming negative thoughts is recognizing that they don't define who you are. They're simply a part of the human experience, like clouds passing in the sky. And just like clouds, they don't need to linger. A simple yet effective practice is observing these thoughts without judgment. Ask yourself, why am I thinking this right now? Is this thought useful or helping me grow? Gratitude is a powerful tool for counteracting negativity. When you train your mind to focus on what's good, negative thoughts lose their grip. A practical exercise is to write down 3 things you're grateful for each day. They can be as simple as the morning sunlight, a conversation with a friend, or overcoming a challenge. Another strategy is reframing your thoughts. For example, imagine you're dealing with criticism, whether at work or in your personal life. Instead of absorbing it as something definitive, ask, what can I learn from this? This simple act of reframing turns something potentially destructive into an opportunity for personal growth. Consider the impact of your environment on your thoughts as well. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, whether from people, news, or digital content, your thoughts are likely to reflect that. Why not limit your exposure to these influences and seek inspiration in books, talks, or conversations that promote a growth mindset? Books like Mindset, The New Psychology of Success by Carol Dweck can be transformative in this regard. Remember that Stoic philosophy teaches us to seek serenity in the face of adversity. This doesn't mean ignoring problems, but approaching them with a broader perspective. Ask yourself, will this matter 5 years from now? Often, the answer shifts the issue into a much lighter context. Identifying triggers that feed negative thoughts is also crucial. It might be certain situations, people, or even specific times of the day when you feel most vulnerable. Recognizing these triggers is the first step in breaking free from destructive cycles. Try replacing them with practices that nourish your mind, like exercise, reading, or mindfulness. Finally, surround yourself with people who bring positive energy. Friends and mentors who share similar values and encourage mutual growth can act as anchors during moments of doubt. Remember, negative thoughts thrive in isolation, but lose their power when shared with someone who offers support. Now that we've discussed how to transform negative thoughts, it's time to address an aspect that often reflects our inner state, the clutter around us. In the next topic, we'll explore how eliminating excess, both physical and mental, can create space for greater clarity and balance. Clearing physical and mental clutter chaos doesn't just exist in what we see, it also lives in what we feel. A cluttered environment creates a constant sense of overwhelm, and mental disarray is often a reflection of this. When your home or workspace is full of unnecessary items, your mind tends to feel equally agitated and disorganized. The philosophy of minimalism teaches that physical clarity leads to mental clarity, a principle essential for personal growth. Picture walking into a room filled with scattered papers, clothes, and random objects out of place. How do you feel? Overwhelmed, right? Now imagine the opposite. A clean, organized space with only the essentials. That immediate sense of peace and focus is something you can cultivate in your mind. By decluttering your surroundings, you start to free your mind from distractions and create space to focus on what truly matters. A great way to begin is by embracing detachment. Look around your home or workspace and ask yourself, does this item still add value to my life? If the answer is no, it may be time to let it go. Remember, space is valuable, and every item you accumulate occupies not only physical space, but also mental energy. Letting go of what no longer serves you creates a profound sense of lightness. The same rule applies to your mindset. What thoughts or beliefs are taking up space in your mind without adding value? Perhaps it's constant self-criticism or a persistent fear of failure. Just as you would clear physical clutter, it's time to rid your mind of this mental junk. Identifying these limiting beliefs is the first step to replacing them with thoughts that support your personal transformation. Start with small victories. Organize a single drawer or a cluttered shelf. This simple act of tidying up can give you an immediate sense of accomplishment and control. Over time, this practice extends to your mental space. Make a list of the worries or distractions that have been occupying your thoughts and prioritize what truly matters. Mental clarity arises when you give room to the essentials. Journaling is another practical exercise. Writing allows you to externalize your internal chaos, leaving your concerns on the page and freeing your mind. It also helps organize your thoughts and set clear goals. The clarity you experience while writing reflects a calmer, more focused mind. Stoic philosophy emphasizes cultivating an inner space free of emotional excess. When you clear away mental clutter, you become better equipped to act with discipline, self-awareness, and motivation to achieve your goals. Less is more. A clean space allows you to better visualize solutions, whether at work, in relationships, or in your personal life. As clarity takes hold in your environment and your mind, it paves the way for breaking free from another harmful cycle, the habit of comparing yourself to others. In the next step, we'll explore how to escape this trap and focus on your unique journey. Escaping the trap of unnecessary comparisons. Comparison is like a distorted mirror. It reflects a version of yourself that never seems good enough. In a world where social media showcases only the highlights of others' lives, it's easy to fall into the trap of measuring your worth against their achievements. But the reality is that comparing your entire life to someone else's highlight reel is unfair to you. The Stoic philosophers warned against this centuries ago. Epictetus reminds us that true success is not found in others, but in our ability to live according to our own values. When you base your self-esteem on external comparisons, you're handing control of your emotional well-being to factors outside your power. A practical exercise to escape this trap is to redefine your metrics for success. Instead of asking, "Am I ahead or behind this person?" ask yourself, "Am I better today than I was yesterday?" The only comparison that truly matters is the one with your past self. This shift in perspective helps you focus on personal progress rather than imaginary competition. Another important step is limiting exposure to triggers of comparison, such as excessive use of social media. If following others' lives leaves you feeling unmotivated or inadequate, it's time to step back. Try a digital detox or curate your content to include only what inspires rather than discourages you. Practicing gratitude is a powerful antidote to comparison. When you focus on what you already have, the need for external validation fades. Start or end your day by listing 3 things you're grateful for. This simple habit not only enhances your mental clarity, but also reinforces a growth mindset. Think of comparisons for what they really are: distractions. They divert your attention from your goals and values. Instead of wasting energy focusing on others, channel that time into positive habits that contribute to your personal growth. For example, you could finally start that course you've always wanted to take, or dedicate more time to a hobby that brings you joy. Remember, success means different things to different people. For some, it's material wealth. For others, it's inner peace, time with family, or meaningful work. Defining what success means for you is one of the most effective ways to free yourself from the comparison trap. Finally, ask yourself, whose approval am I really seeking? Often you'll find that it's not others' approval that truly matters, but your own. When you align with your values and purpose, the urge to compare yourself to others fades away. Escaping the trap of unnecessary comparisons creates space for genuine transformation. This journey isn't about surpassing others, but about aligning with yourself. And as you embrace this alignment, you open the door to a lighter, more meaningful life. Now that you've completed this guide, the most important question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Understanding the areas in your life that drain your energy and hinder your growth is just the first step. True transformation happens when you act quietly but decisively. Think about it. How many opportunities have you missed because of the fear of judgment? How often have you felt stuck in relationships or habits that no longer serve you? More importantly, what are you waiting for to change that? Remember, Every small step counts. It's not about changing everything at once, but starting somewhere. Take a few minutes today to reflect on the 10 areas we've explored. Identify one practical action you can take right now. Maybe it's redefining your priorities, silencing unnecessary notifications, or taking the first step to let go of something beyond your control. Here's a challenge for you. What could be possible if you lived a life more aligned with your values? Imagine the impact on your inner peace, your relationships, and your personal growth. What could you achieve if you had the courage to let go of what no longer serves you? If this content resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss more opportunities to learn, reflect, and transform your life. After all, the path to clarity and fulfillment begins with a single decision: to leave behind what doesn't matter and focus on what truly makes a difference.